Being a teenager isn't easy. That tumultuous time where nobody understands you, school is dragging you down, everyone seems to be obsessed with getting laid, and you feel that you're ugly and horrible. It's also a time for experimentation and emotive discovery as you approach adulthood, and realize what it is you might be partial to. Despite its initial impression of being a purely fanservice orientated show, Sakura Trick is actually a lot better than I thought in exploring the confusion when it comes to that barrier that separates platonic and romantic relationships. I was initially skeptical when I heard about this show. This is undoubtedly a Yuri title. Yuri is the opposite of yaoi, romantic stories involving purely men, in that it invests in women having emotional, romantic, and in most cases sexual explorations and deviances with the same gender. Some stories can be tender, some can be sexually explicit. Sakura Trick fortunately falls into the former category. Sure, it does have fan service elements strewn throughout the narrative, but it could have been a lot worse given the initial brief. The story is about two friends named Haruka and Yu. They are about to start their first year at high school together, and leave the comfort of middle school behind them. What Haruka worries about most though is Yu drifting away from her and leaving her all alone like she was before the two of them met. Yu holds emotional importance in Haruka's life, and naturally she wants to cement that bond in an unforgettable way. That way is through a kiss. At first, Yu is shocked, but she slowly warms up to the idea, and they both embrace the chances in which to, well, embrace. This is a prime example of two teenagers of whatever gender taking their friendship to the next level and solidifying the bond that they have. It's quite charming. Shame that the ploys for male viewership have to get in the way. Yes, for most anime of this ilk to become an anime, it has to have its sexual, ecchi content amped up more than the original. A prime example of this modification is the series A Certain Magical Index. The manga and anime differ wildly in terms of style and content, with the former being far more elegant and tasteful, and the latter being a lot more moe, rounder, softer, and more cutesy style. It pleased some, confused others, and mostly degraded the source material in terms of artistic impression. Sakura Trick suffers from this, but not to nearly as much of a degree. However, groping in extra skimpy costumes and situational positioning do up the ante when it comes to pleasing the male audience watching. It's sad, but at least the panty shot hasn't made an appearance. Yet. In a way, you can count yourself lucky. The lack of more steamy content actually enhances the romantic bond that Haruka and Yu share, and makes it feel more wholesome. Once you get past the Yuri element, you actually find a cute slice of life story of 6 friends in high school sharing their 3 years together, and making the most of their time there. The school they're in is closing as part of a merger with another school, and so their intake will be the last. And as such, all the events that the school puts on have an extra amount of sentimentality behind them. Yu is particularly driven to enjoy herself, and build strong memories and not to miss out on a single moment. The other 4 girl characters, Yuzu, the plucky tomboy, Kaede, the cynical sidekick, Kotane, the buxom flirt, and Shizuku, the nervous stoic one, have their part to play in the series, and it's also clear that they're paired off with one another too, but it's a lot more drawn out and subtle than the main pair. I liked Sakura Trick mostly for its narrative quirks and offbeat visuals for chronicling scene changes, character movements, as well as emotions. For example, Yu wears 2 flowers in her hair, and to denote her running over somewhere, one of the flowers bounces across the screen synced with chirpy musical beats. Yuzu and Haruka have hair antennae, and those twitch when they are emotionally attuned. These small comedic touches add to the charm that this show has. One problem I do have though is that I think that Haruka is a little perverted. More perverted than a normal girl would be at that age. It seems like she's a vehicle for what men might think and dream of when in a steamy sexual encounter with their classmate. It's not always present, but it does sometimes become an issue. So what do I think of Sakura Trick? I like it, not because of its female-orientated plot. Seriously, there are no guys in this show, and sexual undertones. That doesn't do it for me. I like it for its charming character. It's not a cookie-cutter anime with generic characters and bland storytelling. This show has funny and original visual cues, which are coupled with a cute main couple. Of course, if you're not a fan of Yuri, you will be put off by the premise of the series, but that part of the narrative is actually quite small when you think about it. Quite a lot of the story revolves around the 6 main characters, having fun and enjoying their time together. I want to watch a show which feels like you won't forget about it a couple of days after watching it, and Sakura Trick succeeds in doing that. Sakura Trick is available to stream on Crunchyroll. My rating? Continue. If you don't mind Yuri-driven content, that is.